Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I've posted in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Recently, a viewer wrote to me and he said, I have a vegan family coming over next week and was wondering if you could do a vegan video for me if possible. Maybe something like tofu vegetables, noodles, or fried rice minus egg. I would really appreciate it. Well, that is exactly what I'm going to do in this video. Personally, I really like tofu, and tofu is perfect for any vegan dish. Now, tofu is extremely flexible. It can provide many different characteristics to an excellent dish. And the tofu that I'm using here is a tofu actually I purchased from Aldi. In fact, they probably have the best tofu in my opinion. It is an extra firm tofu. Now, tofu has great shelf life. Usually, a carton of tofu lasts about 1 to 2 months. So you can have them in the refrigerator and they will be always ready for you. And prepping tofu is a matter of just open up the carton and cut them up into cubes. And the cubes is probably the best size for cooking tofu. And that's all you have to do. There's nothing simpler and easier to cook tofu. Now, of course, tofu has great nutritional value. Now, most people complain tofu is too bland. They don't have the flavor like a shrimp or beef. But on the contrary, tofu actually is extremely flexible to create the flavor that you want. First of all, let me apologize that my wok is not as clean as it should be because I just cooked an egg dish earlier. And of course, if you're going to cook a vegan tofu dish, you will start out with the wok cleaned. I'm going to start out with some shiitake mushroom. If you don't have them, don't worry, you can just omit it. Now, shiitake mushroom is great for almost any type of dishes. And one of the best things about shiitake mushroom is that they come dehydrated. So you always have them available. All you need to do is to hydrate them. And then I'm going to use a vegetable mix. This vegetable mix contains green beans, carrot, sweet peas, and sweet corn. It's frozen vegetable and it's just perfect for creating a tofu dish. I always have some frozen vegetables on hand. They're very inexpensive, really an excellent budget item. For any dish that you are looking for some small vegetable items, this frozen vegetable mix is a perfect complement to whatever other ingredients that you might have. For example, in fried rice, if I want to add vegetable to the fried rice, this frozen vegetables definitely is my top choice because they are just the right size to complement with other food ingredients in the fried rice. You can season the tofu dish in many different possible ways, and in this case, I'm going to start out with some grounded black pepper. Now, the pepper will provide an interesting flavor to the tofu dish. As I have mentioned earlier, a tofu is very easy to season because in many ways, people do not like tofu because of its blandness, but it is also the advantage of the tofu. Because of its blandness, you can basically create almost any type of flavor that you want. And next, I'm going to add some spicy sesame oil. This sesame oil contains hot oil as well. This will make the tofu slightly spicy, but you can increase the level of hotness of tofu. In this case, I'm going to add some hot chili pepper flakes. A spicy tofu is probably the best type of flavor that people create in a tofu dish. The main reason is that because tofu is very bland, and so consequently, you can make adjustment and create all kinds of flavor profile by using different type of spicy agents. And the choices that I make here is because they are most convenient to me. And you probably can use other type of agents to create the spiciness that you want. Now the next step is that I'm going to add the tofu to the wok. Now the tofu do not need to be cooked at all. So all I really need to do is to warm it up. I'm going to start to season the dish with oyster sauce. And since this is going to be a vegan dish, I'm going to use vegetarian oyster sauce. This is followed by just a small amount of hoisin sauce. The ratio between the two will allow you to determine the type of flavor that you're looking for. And this is followed by some soy sauce. In here, I just use the regular, I would call it the medium soy sauce by Kikkoman. Using this 3 different seasoning agents will allow me to create the kind of flavor in general what I want. But of course, I'm going to further adjust the flavor as I moving toward the end of the cooking process. Because as the tofu absorbed the flavor from the sauces, it will change the characteristics of the flavor of the dish. And the final adjustment is absolutely essential. I'm going to use 2 kinds of mushroom. The next is that I'm going to add some portobello mushroom. Now the portobello mushroom are fresh mushroom, and they tend to cook very rapidly. And the reason that I'm adding them toward the end of the cooking process because I do not want to overcook them. I would like to retain the texture of the portobello mushroom as much as possible. And this is why I'm adding them toward the end of the cooking process. And this I frequently refer to as sequential stir frying. Basically, you add the ingredients at a time depending on how long you want to cook them. The ingredients that you want to cook them for less time period, you add them toward the latter phase of the cooking process. Most people like a tofu dish with a lot of sauces. And that is very important because the sauce can play a very important role in providing the flavor of the dish, particularly when you have the sauce to coat the tofu. It gives the tofu much better flavor and it also enhances the overall experience of the dish. So in this case, I'm going to create a sauce using a cornstarch suspension with 2 parts of water to 1 part of cornstarch. And since I'm going to create a lot of sauce, I decided that I'm going to add some additional oyster sauce and hoisin sauce because once I add more water, it will dilute the flavor of the dish. So adding additional sauce will be important to make sure that I still have the intensity of the sauce that I'm looking for. As you notice that the sauce starts to gel very rapidly. And this is one thing about using cornstarch to make sauce because the reaction of the cornstarch to the heat is very fast. And very quickly, you notice that the sauce starts to thicken. It is always better to make the sauce a bit thicker than what you want. For this dish, I decided I'm going to add some dark soy sauce. Now, dark soy sauce is less salty, but it has a dark color due to the fermentation. It actually is very useful if you want to adjust the color of the dish. This is truly an important part of flavor chasing. I continually making adjustments. The next part I want to adjust is that I want to make sure the consistency of the sauce is exactly how I like it. So I add some additional boiling water. This will allow me to thin out the sauce, and I can make small adjustment by adding different amount of waters a little bit at a time to achieve the exact consistency that I want with the sauce. Now the consistency of a sauce is really important, and part of it is a personal preference. Some people like it a little bit thicker, but some people like it to be really thin. But I think it also depends on what you're going to use the dish for. A lot of time, you want to use the dish over noodles, for example, you probably want the sauce to be thinner. But on the other hand, if you want to just use it over rice, you might want it to be a little bit thicker. So you can experiment with the consistency of the sauce to achieve what you are looking for. And this to me is very important in ultimately to achieve the final flavor of the dish. This in many ways you can consider to be a vital aspect of flavor chasing. As you notice that flavor chasing is the most significant aspect of the cooking system because ultimately, as the saying goes, we love flavor first before we love food. Once you enjoy the flavor of the dish that you cook, you probably will not want anybody else to cook for you because they will not be able to cook it the same way as you do. I still remember a friend of mine told me that he used to love a tofu dish that cooked in a Chinese restaurant that he goes to often. But after he started cooking for himself, he discovered that his tofu dish tastes actually better than that tofu dish he used to really enjoy. And the reason was simple, because once he started doing flavor chasing, he's able to continue to make improvement of how he seasoned his dish, both in terms of the ratio between different type of sauces that he used, as well as using new approach in, for example, the different type of spice that he used to create the spiciness of the dish. And of course, most importantly, he can adjust how hot he wants the dish. Now he does not have to worry about that, either it is too hot or not hot enough. So from that standpoint, this is what makes home cooking truly a vital aspect to create a food that you're going to love and enjoy. And once you do that, home cooking becomes highly sustainable. So the final part of this dish, I'm going to garnish it a little bit with scallions. Now the scallion is the stem portion of the scallion. Now this scallion not only adds flavor to the dish, but it also provides a visual appeal. And this is the reason why I always have some scallions on hand. Tofu truly is a remarkable food ingredient, and if you have not tried it, you should definitely give it a strong attempt. I think you will be very happy of how it's going to turn out. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine using my fast cooking system. If you'd like to learn more about this cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.